Wednesday, I'll be doing a stream with Richard Spencer.
Anglin's feasing hard right now. From baked Alaska to BigTech to Milo. Conclusion, I'm disavowing my previous endorsement of Nick as a leader.
Apparently it was controversial with some people. You know what I say? Fuck them.
I'm disloyal? I was supporting you anyway.
I'm like, yes, sir, Ethan Rao.
I would destroy America first.
Nick is going to lose if he's surrounded by yes men. Is that RPG?
Wednesday, I'll be doing a stream with Richard Spencer, which is going to be interesting. Because, you know, I haven't talked to Richard in a long time. I think we did a Twitter space maybe last year, earlier this year. I'm not exactly sure when that happened, but it was very brief. But I really haven't talked to Richard on a stream in like maybe 5 years. It's been a really long time, and obviously so much has transpired since then, and he's gone in a totally different direction, and so many things have happened with me. So he reached out to me last week and said he's doing this series. He wants me to come on his show, and I said, yeah, man, like I think it'll be a great conversation. So I think it'll be a really interesting retrospective. I'm sure we'll talk a lot about kind of our history and everything that has happened. And we'll also talk about where we are now. And I don't agree with Richard on a lot of things, but I have to say he's really funny. And I also think that he's a real character. And I do think he's very intelligent. I never agreed with, people always used to say that he was dumb. I was, of course, very critical of him when I started out. And a lot of people said he was dumb. I never said he was dumb. I disagreed with a lot of things that he did, but I always thought he was a very intelligent person. So it's going to be a good conversation.
Anglin's feasing hard right now. So Anglin says, seemingly sarcastically, great idea. Getting involved with Richard Spencer is known to have really good outcomes. Oh, shade thrown. Anglin's response to Kozer, who said that he trusts Nick's judgment. Anglin says, yes, you're right. Nick is a messianic figure who can turn federal informants into useful figures in the right wing. It doesn't matter how completely irrelevant the figure is or how compromised he is. As long as he says nice things about Nick, Nick can lend his relevance to the Fed and make him very useful as a person. It doesn't even matter if no one knows who the person is, beyond media spectacle condemning him as a pro-Nazi and homosexual. The cool thing about being a serious genius is that Nick doesn't need advice from anyone, because he has magic powers and is ordained by God to make really good decisions. To really make very good decisions. And anyone who disagrees with him is a shill or maybe evil. We know how effective Nick is with public relations because of his long history of really getting along with others. Oh, man. He never creates lunatic, bizarre debacles, never takes completely irrelevant figures and turns them into the center of his political movement. It's amazing the way he's able to judge people's character, and extra fantastic the way that he doesn't ever get all emotional about some irrelevant freak he tried to be friends with and then spent months talking about him for no reason. That's a shot at Jaden, right? Anyone who questions Nick is an enemy because everything Nick does is right because Nick does it. Reality bends around him, and every time there is a crisis that seems to have been caused by Nick, it's actually caused by other people somehow. This is all very reasonable, and these are totally very good qualities of a leader. He has leadership qualities stacked on leadership qualities. He is like a Jenga tower of very good leadership qualities. Holy shit, it's like Andrew Anglin's been watching me. Wait, has Andrew Anglin started watching my show? He's basically saying what I said, but he's saying it like a spiteful 5-year-old. I've never seen someone so humble and willing to engage in meaningful self-reflection. Universally, the number one quality that all leaders share is that they don't ever listen to anyone else. They totally isolate themselves, and if anyone makes a suggestion in good faith, they rightfully view it as an attack. It's not about ego. It's just about realizing that no one else in the world can possibly offer useful information to someone who is ordained by God as the master of reality. If someone tries to suggest something to them, they are a traitor. Not loyal. All of the top leaders in history had one trait in common. They never listened to anyone else, and they live entirely in their own head, believing that God was guiding them, and therefore they could never make a mistake. This is all going to turn out really well because it is very adult behavior. You know what I gotta say to this disloyal bitch?
Nigga, fuck the retort. If you'll be my baby, I'll never let it abort you. Gator, you're loyal.
You're a victim. You got a victim mindset.
Let me taste your loyalty.
The victim mentality. You're a victim. Now you're a victim of Nick. You're a victim. You're a victim of Richard Spencer. You're a victim of Nick. You're a victim of God. Essentially, at the end of the day, you hate your father. You got daddy issues. You hate your dad. You hate God. You hate Nick because you hate your dad. You're a victim. Anglin is still feasing out at Nick. Koza wrote, there are two kinds of feds, undercover feds and federal informants. I've always viewed Spencer as the latter, meaning the informant type. A guy who would snitch to the feds if it meant avoiding getting charged for incitement or something. Anglin says, oh, so Spencer's the lesser harmless feds. Nick is just rehabilitating one of the feds that is really not that big of a fed. So this is all very good and normal and helpful. It's like in prison, when you sit at the snitch table, but you make sure to position yourself only next to the snitches who are not really very serious snitches, but are just sort of like a little bit snitches. Fuck this. Nick had a lot of good faith from me, and I put a whole lot of my credibility on him. But I do not do Fed shit, regardless of whatever kind of weird, oh, he's only a little bit of a Fed kind of thing you just said. I didn't sign up for a resurrection of the right. I signed up for the opposite. I want nothing to do with this. I'm out. Anglin just said that fucking 9 hours ago. Oh, shit. You know, what's interesting, though, in a follow-up, check this out, though. Somebody, who is it? This guy, Drangensturm, says, check out what he says 3 hours ago. No one had a problem when Nick talked to Chuck Johnson, an admitted federal informant, multiple times. And most people here didn't care when he was extracting value from Milo, who actually worked with Nick in a professional capacity. To be honest, I could tell that Anglin was souring on Nick months ago. And I posted about this elsewhere. I don't think you turned on a dime from ride or die to I'm out just because he talked to Spencer. Which, by the way, he did before this on a Twitter space too. He's also been saying he likes Spencer as a person for a while now. Nothing that happened yesterday was new. Why pretend? As Alexander Hamilton once said, state your grievances. Ooh. Anglin says, so the argument is, Nick always associates with feds, so it's no big deal. Okay. Wait, so your argument is Nick always associates with feds? Chuck Johnson, Milo, Spencer. So the argument's that he's always associating with feds. No big deal? Okay. I am not moved by that line of reasoning. He says, I've given Nick a lot of benefits of a lot of doubts. And if you're saying I shouldn't have done that, I agree. Oh, damn. Shit. From Baked Alaska to BigTech to Milo to every single other stupid, worthless, dangerous asshole that this kid is associated with, I've done my best to signal that I did not think it was a good idea. And Nick made it clear he doesn't care what anyone thinks. He doesn't take advice from anyone, and in fact, he despises that idea. And that anyone that think that, and he despises that anyone would think that they have a right to question his opinion or anything that he does. As far as making this into some big drama, as everyone seems intent on doing, I have no interest in that. I'm not going to attack Nick. I'm not going to talk about Nick. All I'm doing is saying that I don't think he makes responsible decisions. And the fact that he refuses to listen to anyone at all, the fact that he can't maintain the most basic types of relationships, and the fact that he's totally incapable of maintaining the support of people who are committed to supporting him, proves that he doesn't have any leadership qualities at all. It's unfortunate. I had a lot of faith. It's gone now. This game you're playing here of why didn't you give up on him before could be framed as why did you have so much faith in him that it took literally attempting to rehabilitate Richard Spencer for you to lose that faith. The answer is yes. I really did have a lot of faith in him. This is not some big event here. Unlike most of the people who chose to surround himself, unlike most of the people he chose to surround himself with and then piss off, I have no reason to make a scene. I've really said all I have to say.
Yeah, welcome. You're looking
Hi.
good. Yeah, I
Thanks.
like the
Yeah,
stash.
you're looking good too. Thank you.
So I'm really glad you're here, and I don't think we've really spoken for a number of years, tons of acrimony, and it's always good to just wipe the slate clean.
There's a new thread on GamerUprising.to called Total Drama Apocalypse. Anglin denounces Fuentes. Anglin says, okay, so having slept on it, there's some things that I probably need clarified here. Given that this has turned into a massive thing, TLDR, I'm disavowing Nick as any kind of leader figure. I'm not saying I hate him, or that he's my enemy, or that people shouldn't listen to him. I'm simply saying he's too irresponsible to be in any kind of leadership position. I still like him, and I think he's funny. Let me say, this is personal for me. I don't know Nick, except parasocially, but he knows me in the same way. I think he soured on me some months ago due to what I think was a serious misunderstanding. He said very nice things about me, and I've obviously been a big influence on him. Nick soured on Anglin a few months ago? Does anybody know what he's talking about? So, this is all personal. Insofar as I am a human with emotions, this status is limited. But I pride myself on being objective. And one of the things that keeps me objective is allowing people to question me in a public way and responding to basically whoever wants to take a shot. Some of you will agree and some of you will not. But I want to make everything completely clear so there is no confusion about where I stand or what I've said. I don't want my words to be used by other people with agendas, nor do I want people to think that I've declared some kind of war on Nick. The situation. Here's the situation. I was intensely supportive of Nick. I said ride or die. And I said the pledge that I would die for him. I burned bridges, personally and professionally, in support of Nick. That is just a description of what happened. Believe it or not, there were a lot of people who had been around this scene for a long time who were not comfortable with Nick taking the position of CEO of anti-Semitism. Note, CEO of anti-Semitism is a position that exists and has, for whatever reason, always existed, going back even before the war. Matt Heimbach Richard Spencer, and then Mike Enoch all wanted to be the CEO of anti-Semitism. It's a long, confusing story, which probably half of you remember because you were there. Anyway, Charlottesville was Richard Spencer's baby, and it destroyed hundreds of lives. People killed themselves. People went to jail and prison. One poor bastard is doing life for a car accident. I hold some degree of responsibility for this because I endorsed the event. So, after all of that, Nick came along. He was controversial for a lot of different reasons. I watched him for a while, giving him support as far back as 2017, when he first started. He became friends with Beardson Beardfather. He became friends with Beardson Beardfather, who is one of the few people I've known in this game who isn't a piece of shit. It became clear that Nick was a precocious genius when he started doing the debates. He has oratory skills that are simply incredible. Father Bean, the Beard Father. I also thought, and frankly still do think, or hope, I think, that Nick has a moral backbone that most people I've run into simply do not have. Most people are not willing to die or go to prison, which means they actually have no place in the right-wing politics. Because if you're not willing to die or go to prison, then you're basically already working for the feds. That hopefully is self-explanatory, because I'm not going to explain it right now. Part of being willing to die or go to prison for a political agenda means you're going to be a little bit off. So, at some point, I fully endorsed Nick as the heir apparent and de facto CEO of anti-Semitism. Anyone can remember that I went hard on this. I said I would not tolerate anyone who was against him. And I used all of my influence to push this and to push out anyone who would challenge his role. I pissed off a lot of people, and frankly, it cost me quite a bit of money. But I believed very strongly that it was the right thing to do. And I know if I was in the same place again, I would do the same thing again. So that is the context of my disavowal. I am no longer a supporter of Nick Fuentes as the CEO of anti-Semitism, given that he has shown, and I have witnessed, that he lacks the necessary judgment and people skills to be in a leadership role in any kind of quote-unquote movement. The decision to try to rehabilitate Richard Spencer is simply beyond the pale, and I honestly can't even believe it actually happened. It's unbelievable on so many different levels. We're being thorough here, so let's start with just explaining the fact that this was a rehabilitation. Nick is a very well-liked personality. Spencer is an internet villain who is universally hated. He had no audience at all. Nick was granting him his own audience, and he was meeting him on friendly terms. He was humanizing him. People sent me Telegram screenshots. I have the comments on Rumble. The Telegram comments might be from private or semi-private chats, but this is what the Rumble comments look like. From David43, holy shit, the far right is a really nice guy. Our media is definitely CIA. What a effing joke. This was so eye-opening. From GG Allen. Damn, I haven't heard from Spencer in a long time. Great conversation. Very white-pilling. Keep it up, Nick. The Across the Ocean across the cross is the cube, says Anglin is eating his words. This was needed. Oscar says W Nick, as always. Balls on ya says great stream, love to see it. Spences says friendship ended with destiny. Now Dick is my new best friend. Noah says Richard Spencer's all right. I think he is dumb when it comes to religion, but it was a good conversation. I'm of the belief that explicit belief in Christianity is the only way forward in society. Nick has used his position of authority and his audience to purposefully rehabilitate Richard Spencer, to make him part of the conversation again, to make him likable. You can claim, oh, it's just a stream, bro. It's not a big deal. It is, however, a very big deal. Richard Spencer was gone, and now he's back. Nick did that. He made the decision to do that. People have said that these two had already run into each other on Twitter Spaces. That's not the same thing. You can run into anyone on a Twitter Space. Sitting down and doing a 3-hour interview on a guy's show is something much different. It's saying, I think this guy is important enough for me to endorse in this way. And it was not a debate. I would be against a debate as well, but this was a friendly chat. When you use your own charisma and your own audience to paint a hated villain in a positive light in a public setting, changing the negative views of the audience to positive views, that's called rehabilitation. In parentheses, I fell out with TRS initially because they rehabilitated FBI informant Chris Cantwell in this exact same way. TRS was later exposed as having an FBI informant working with them directly. I'm not going to go into the Fed stuff with Spencer because the proof I have seen is not stuff I can share publicly. And trust me, bro, is not an argument I use. Technically, I could use myself as a source, but I won't. And I don't want it to be some distraction point. I will say that Spencer sat at the snitch table with TRS after they were exposed. And we go by prison rules because that's the only way you can run a right-wing political movement. You sit at the snitch table, you're a snitch. Plus, literally went all in with Matt Heimbach and his costume brigade. If Nick doesn't think this was a rehabilitation, then that might actually be worse. But it doesn't really matter what he thinks about it, as we all see what he did. This is the single most irresponsible thing that he could possibly do with his position. Richard Spencer is the worst cancer on earth. With that Charlottesville lunacy and the things that came after, he destroyed the movement that me and a bunch of other people built from 2012 to 2017. He did nothing to create it. He never had anything to offer. But it was a leaderless movement, and he simply stepped in and told the media, I am the leader of this movement. Then he destroyed it and left with no consequences. He shit on me personally by doing this. I don't know why he would do this. What did I do? I've done nothing but support him for more than 5 years. I've supported him more than anyone. And yes, that is personal. But it also speaks to leadership ability. Who the hell does something like this to one of their biggest and most prominent advocates? Why would you do that? It's insane. He knows my history with this individual. He shit on everyone whose life was ruined by Richard Spencer. James Fields is doing life in prison. Others have been to jail. Many more lost their jobs. Several people themselves. He shit on every single person who worked to build the 2016 right. He shit on his own followers by making them believe this Spencer guy is all right. Why doesn't he go ahead and bring back Chris Cantwell? And Mike Enoch, too? Why not Matt Heimbach? None of them did nearly as much harm as Spencer. They're all three more interesting than Spencer as well, quite frankly. Here's something you might find fascinating. The primary reason I was so adamant about forcing the issue of Nick as the leader of the movement is so that we didn't end up in a situation again where someone shows up and claims that role. Isn't that a sick twist? Now, you see the position I'm in. I've endorsed Nick very strongly, and now Nick has done the most irresponsible thing I could imagine ever doing. So I have to disavow. I don't have any choice. What sort of piece of shit would I be if I just ignored this? You can agree with me or disagree with what I wrote above about what it means to rehabilitate Richard Spencer. Maybe you don't think it's that big of a deal. Or you buy this, "Oh bro, it's just a chat" line. But I do not think you can read what I wrote and doubt that I believe it, or doubt that I'm acting on my conscience here. I do not think anyone can claim in good faith that I have ulterior motives here. It wouldn't really make much sense for me to have spent years building up Nick just to shit on him for no reason, would it? For me, this is not about personalities. If it was, I probably would say, he's a bro, it's cool. But I destroyed my whole life for this shit. I'm never going to see my family again. This isn't a fucking game. And I'm not doing "it's cool, bro." I signed up ready to die or go to prison or live in exile. And yeah, he's cool though, doesn't cut it. Analogy? I want to do an analogy. But there's really no one on earth that you can compare to Richard Spencer, other than like someone from. But let me try something here. People may remember Jaden McNeil. He was Nick's friend, who for some reason became his enemy, and then did a tour on weirdo podcasts attacking him. So imagine if I called up Jaden McNeil and did a friendly 3-hour show with him, and then said, "It's just content, bro. We just talked about Zionism and Ukraine." Would that be cool? Does that seem like something I would ever do? Would people defend me if I did that? But see, the analogy only works on the level of Nick personally shitting on me. What he did by rehabilitating Spencer was shit on the entire world. He shit on all of humanity. There is no possible analogy. People have asked why I made excuses for other bad decisions Nick made. The reason is because I supported him and I hoped he would mature and start making better decisions. But rehabilitating Spencer is beyond the pale. It's too much. It's intolerable. I could list off the bad decisions he made, just so we're clear that this was not one bad misstep. Should I? Do people need reminded of his issues with people skills? Honestly, I don't want to turn this into something where I'm just bringing up a bunch of old shit and acting like that this is all relevant. I hate it when people do this. Honestly, I hate all of these infighting disavowal things, and I hate writing this right now. It's horrible. People who have followed me for a long time know I used to support all kinds of people, just assuming everyone must be honest. Because why would they lie? I totally stopped supporting everyone, stopped mentioning anyone except Nick. Nick, I thought, was different. So no, I'm not going to give examples. Everyone knows that he's had fallings out after fallings out. And everyone knows that every time that this happens, it's been someone else's fault. When I made my original statement disavowing Nick's rehabilitation of Richard Spencer, his statement on that matter was, "Fuck Anglin." It's true. true. What Nick said was, fuck them. It was good content.
Cookies sent $5. This is painful. Great show with Spencer yesterday. You took a huge W on the benefits of America's decline for dissidents.
Yeah, right. That guy tried to debate with me. This guy in the Zoom call tries to come in and debate with me, and he's kind of throwing shit. And I just debated him into the ground, and Spencer came in, and I think I had some good points on him as well. I get why people disagree. I think I'm right on that. And thank you. Yeah, it was very controversial, apparently, my appearance with Spencer. I know a lot of people didn't like that. Look, well, I don't really need to defend it. It was good content. Enough said. I don't need to respond to that. But apparently it was controversial with some people. You know what I say? Fuck them. I thought it was a good show. Good content.
Adam Vine sent $10. How's that going for you?
An adult would have said, I'd have to hear what his issues were with the stream and try to understand where he's coming from. That's what a leader would have said. A leader cannot respond to any and all criticism with fuck him. I'm right. I'm always right. In order to be a leader, you have to listen to people. You are asking us to trust you and to follow you. This is basic, like fucking Socrates shit or Tony Robbins. Any and all material ever written on leadership has very basic first principles. The people you are asking to follow you have to be able to ask questions and be given explanations. I guess he's never read Plato or Tony Robbins, but this should be intuitive. And hey, it's in Mein Kampf. Being able to listen to concerns and address them is probably the single most basic aspect of leadership. And only sycophants will follow a leader they don't feel they can question. And sycophants are useless, never actually loyal. Wow, it's almost like Anglin saying in a million more words exactly what I just said a few months back.
I know you're not a team player. Like, you're clearly in it for yourself.
Well, I'm not a yes man. So if you gotta support Israel to be part of that other group,
that's what Jaden used to tell me.
If this group is, you gotta be a yes man or you can't be in it.
There it is. There it is. Everyone who is loyal to me is just a sycophant. I'm not disloyal, Nick. I'm just not a sycophant. You're getting on my case because I slept in the same room as Milo, and well, you wouldn't do that because if it got out, it would look bad. It would look a certain way. I mean, give me a break. Like, this entire thing is a load of shit from start to finish. And
it does
you
look
should know
bad.
better.
It does look bad. You were so close with Milo that you slept in a room with him, and he's a snake, and you should have known that.
Okay.
Everybody.
You're a snake. You're a snake. The real mistake is I should have fired your fucking ass and kicked you off this platform. You're sitting on all these criticisms. It reminds me a lot of like Culture War Criminal, where you really are sitting on all these criticisms. You talk about how I was smuggled into Mar-a-Lago. Talk about how Marjorie Green disavowed me after AFPAC. Yeah. Milo, Ali, you don't like Ethan Ralph. So really, you're just full of shit. So you're just sitting on all this venom, and now it seems like it's finally, now when you're losing the argument, you got to find all this, and now very conveniently reach into the stockpile of your top super chatter, Red Pill Gaming.
Loving you does not cause me to not see your flaws.
Right. That's what I've heard that many times before by people who are stabbing me in the back. They tell me, well, I'm just not a sycophant.
These people that are around here on Cozy, I know they got your back and you love them because they're your friends, but they got issues.
If you were my strongest supporter, I would come and help you out, but you criticize me. You're making me want to go in on the side of the hate. When Ethan Ralph...
Well, I think that's the signal that I am your strongest supporter, because I'm willing to tell you the truth.
No. I've heard that many times before. It's not a good thing to say. But when Ethan Ralph texts me and says, it's him or me, I'm like,
whoa.
Yes, sir. I'm like, yes, sir, Ethan Ralph. I'm like, I'll take care of him, Mr. Ralph. I'll take care of him.
Damn.
Because you want to know why? Because because I know Ethan Ralph may be addicted to, he may be fat. He may have blue hair. But I know that if Ethan Ralph is drunk as a skunk and high at the bar and somebody starts picking on me, he is going to throw his full body weight at that person like a human cannonball and kill them. And you might be like, I don't know, should I get into this fight? Let me evaluate the facts first. Let me get to the bottom of, wait a second. So, you know, that's loyalty.
The coward Nicholas Fuentes hasn't streamed all week. He's not streaming today. He's on the run in every way whatsoever. I swore to God on the lives of my children that I would destroy America first, and it's happening live before your fucking eyes. They thought I was done. They thought it was over, but it was just getting started. They didn't count on the Ralph Mail turning up the heat, bringing in old allies, building back the bridges that I bombed myself. They didn't count on anything because they didn't know who the fuck they were dealing with.
I think Nick showed me what he's like, and that's not the type of guy that I stand up for in this moment. He just wants yes men. That's not going to work. He needs to figure that out. If he's surrounded by yes men, like Beardson and Wurzelroot and Ethan Ralph, let's see how long that works out for him. It's not going to work out in the long run. Nick is going to lose if he's surrounded by yes men. He's going to lose the war. Conclusion. I am disavowing my previous endorsement of Nick as a leader because I do not see him acting as a leader. That is the full. If you remember what was my big old thing that I said, I'm not doing a 180 on Nick as a person. And as much as it is like it is a heated battle, so you're going to go all in on him. What I would like to see is this whole AF movement thing is, and that's got to go away. Nick being the leader of a movement, a political movement, where he's trying to become the president or whatever like that. And he's got all these interns and he's around him in the group chats, and we're going to conspire and we're going to covertly enter undercover, and we're going to be deceivers in the government. Like, forget it. Nick needs to just do a show. And he needs to get real. I mean, he is good at running a show, and he's a good host. And Donald Trump had a show, and Ronald Reagan was an actor. And Nick needs to, if he's serious about trying to do something when he's in his 30s and maybe be president someday or whatever, if he's serious about that, he needs to drop the Catholic LARP and drop the political movement arc. Just do a show. Give us a good show. And if he can give us a good show and show up on time and increase his production value a little bit instead of just sitting on the same desk in front of the same green screen, and maybe get some guests and do some stuff that real content creators do. Actually make some fucking content and just stop clout farming from all these people. Then maybe we'll talk again sometime in the future. But until then, I don't think he's got it figured out, and he's foolish. That's kind of the way it looks right now. So I'm not saying I hope that he fucking and I hate him. I'm saying I think he is doing everything wrong and needs to take a break and start doing it right, and then I'll take another look at him. Nick should just do a show and do a good show because he's funny and cool and smart. But this whole leader LARP movement shit, I'm out of that, and I think he should drop it. He ain't cut out for it. He's not a good leader. Explicitly and exactly what I said. And that's what I found out during the Ali Akbar problem. The Nick slept in a room with Milo thing, that actually is a seriously, like him doing this stream with Spencer, sleeping in a fucking hotel room with Milo Yiannopoulos is insane. And I felt just like Anglin feels right now. Everybody's like, what do you mean, bro? It was just one stream. A bunch of people are saying to me, what do you mean, bro? You never slept in a hotel room with what are you working on a job site and you split a room, get a double bed? It's Milo, though. Am I crazy? What's wrong with you guys? I feel like Anglin. He's like, but it's fucking Richard Spencer. It's not just okay, bro. You don't sleep in a fucking hotel room with Milo. That's insane. Anybody knows that. Who has anything going on in here and isn't an actual sucker. Anybody who wasn't actually trying to get f***ed in the ass by Milo would not sleep in that room. So I was like, what? And then the way that he handled the fallout of the whole thing, blaming everybody else and trying to dodge it, and he just showed terrible leadership. And then coming in to yell at me at the end of it all. saying that he wants like a mob level loyalty from me that's an unquestioning I'll bury bodies for you, Nick type of thing. How about you just fucking do your news show, little? Stop trying to be my leader if you're not even going to be able to answer questions. It's exactly what I was saying. I agree with Anglin completely right here. He's just figuring it out a little bit later on a different issue. You got to earn loyalty. Loyalty is a feeling. Loyalty is a feeling in the heart that someone has. It's an affectionate desire to support somebody. It's not a debt obligation. It's not you let me stream on your platform and you're speaking up for issues that I care about, so now I have to fucking sweep for you and lie for you. No matter what you do. No matter what mistake you make. No matter how many smileys are at your event where you're bringing around creepy. I don't gotta lie for that. That's not what loyalty is. Conclusion. I'm disavowing my previous endorsement of Nick as a leader because I do not see him acting as a leader. This is the full extent to which I am disavowing him. I'm not disavowing him as an artist, as a podcaster, as an entertainer, as a boy genius, or any of these roles. Actually, we might need to redact the boy genius thing. Oh no! He's closer to 30 than 20. At some point, angsty snark is not going to be so hip. You know? I'm not hating on him, he says. I'm not declaring war on him. I'm not even turning against him. I expect him to respond with vitriol, as he already has in part. But that's fine. That's the way he deals with criticism. Maybe he won't. Maybe he will take this to heart. Who knows? But I want to make it clear that I am not trying to tell anyone it's him or me, or you're either with us or against us. Nick has a great show. He does entertaining interviews. He's charismatic and he's good at getting the important information out there. That's what I've been saying. Do that. The rest is... You're not the leader. You're not the CEO of racism. As soon as you slept in a room with Milo Yiannopoulos after bringing Ollie Alexander onto Cozy, you can't. Once I found out the history of Ali, which was the same time I found out you slept in a hotel room with Milo, your CEO of anti-Semitism card got fucking pulled, dog. You're not the CEO of shit. Fucked up. I don't even have to mention the fucking Kanye thing. But I want to make it clear that I'm not trying to tell anyone it's him or me. For us or against us. Nick has a great show, does entertaining interviews, he's charismatic, and good at getting the important information out there. The leadership position was maybe just premature. Maybe he can learn leadership skills. What was I saying? 10 years from now, Nick's going to be an interesting guy. Does that mean I have to like sweep up every mess that he makes right now and pretend that it wasn't a mess? No. He's not going to be president right now. Get it fucking real, you freaks. He's a kid. And he needs to drop the Catholic light. The leadership position was maybe just premature. Maybe he can learn leadership skills. He's smart enough and he should be able to. Even if it's not intuitive to him, this can be understood on an intellectual level. Nothing is going to change on my end other than I'm going to stop giving him regular shoutouts. I'm going back to my position, which should have always been my position, and not endorse anyone for anything. It's really my fault for breaking that rule. I don't want this to be used by people who hate Nick for reasons I don't even agree with. I don't hate Nick. Don't even dislike him. Well, I do think he's an asshole. But he's very funny. I wish him the best. And if he was the sort to take advice, I would tell him to keep being an entertainer and an informer, and keep encouraging young people to get into positions of power. I would also advise him to take his responsibility to his followers seriously and not lead any of them astray. You can't say, well, people can figure it out for themselves. Obviously, if that was true, we wouldn't be in this situation. People look for leaders because they want to be guided. And you don't guide them to Richard Spencer. Jesus said, be shepherds. Remember? Oh, hey. I said I wasn't going to just bring up a bunch of old shit because I hate when people do this breakup thing. When I disavowed Mike Enoch, he started talking about how I was into underage girls, and was just disgusted by such a suggestion. The only thing in the world I hate more than Richard Spencer is people who don't respect the age of consent. Wait, what? The only thing in the world I hate more than Richard Spencer is people who don't respect the age of consent? What? He hates age of consent disrespecters? Was this intended to be ironic? I don't get it. Last week he was saying that we need child brides. And hey, I said I wasn't going to just bring up a bunch of old shit because I hate it when people do this breakup thing. When I disavowed Mike Enoch, he started talking about how I was into underage girls. And I was just disgusted by such a suggestion. The only thing in the world I hate more than Richard Spencer is people who don't respect the age of consent. I literally... Did he just have a stroke? It's sarcasm? Okay. But yeah, Nick did Cozy TV, and he had all these people on there who were talking shit about him and promoting like satanic doctrines. Who's he talking about? Yeah. You're talking about somebody else. Ooh. Ooh. Hey. Ooh. So he's telling young kids, yeah, come check out Cozy.tv, and then they go there, and there's some 40-year-old freak using Zoomer slang trying to be the father figure to disenfranchise youths while promoting Alice Bailey and saying Nick is gay. It's like, bro, you have a responsibility to these kids. You just can't lead them into this sort of thing. And promoting people who are against you is insane on every level. Meanwhile, by the way, the American hero Ali Jamal is not allowed to have a channel, despite the fact that he's leading the charge against all throughout the Southwest. So this is another principle of leadership, along with allowing people to question you. You have to guide the people. If I'm just going all out, I think he should respect people. His general lack of respect for others makes one wonder how much respect he has for himself. That's all I have to say. I'm not posting this on the front page. I figure anyone who this is relevant to can find it here. At the time of writing, you can sign up and comment. I will probably turn off registration at some point, but this is a big enough thing that I'm saying it here. But I'm saying here that I think it's only fair that I allow anyone who wants to respond. And if the question seems relevant, I will reply. Anglin loves big tech, it's obvious. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty obvious. That's so funny that he just couldn't wrap it up before like giving one paragraph about me. He's still seething about me. Yeah, anyway. No mention of Ralph, by the way. No mention of Ralph, by the way. No, it was me. I was the big problem. And I wasn't calling him. I never called Nick. Oh, that's low-hanging fruit. I never called Nick. And I never promoted Alice Bailey. See, this was the problem with this guy the whole time. I mean, I know it's his style of just like saying things wrong on purpose because it's funny or whatever. Look, Even at the Fuck Coasty Festival with Ralph, I hated the words as they were coming out of my mouth because they kind of stuck. I was sort of like playing into the thing. But if you remember and go back to the clip, I didn't say what I said is I literally said when Ralph gave me the mic to go off, I said, well, Nick, honestly, I don't hate you and I'm not even mad at you. I'm just disappointed. And I wasn't trying to be like snarky and do the thing. I'm not mad. I wasn't trying to like be his dad. That's how I actually feel. So like when I dug for a real dig on Nick, and just me being there was kind of a dig, and just talking about the other Cozy who I don't like, Nick's fucking friends. That was like the main participation I had. But when have I ever really said anything about Nick other than he just doesn't have the leadership thing? Like, he's not qualified. He just makes bad choices. He's not a good leader. He's too arrogant and too young. He's talented and good at what he's good at, but the things he's bad at are bad. And if you're going to come in and step into a leadership role and you're going to say, all right, there's a movement, it has my name on it, I'm the leader of the movement, all these people are in it, I'm the boss, well, then you got to be good at it. If you suck at it, you suck at it. And Nick's not good at it. BigTech is still a huge Nick fan. I am a fan of the idea of a CEO of anti-Semitism, like the thing he was talking about. I am a hierarchy guy. The problem you have with me is that you better be fucking worthy of my respect, because I want to respect that position a lot. And I do have a ton of respect for the ability that Nick, at his young age, knows what he knows and is able to say what he says. And so I am a competency respecter. He's extremely competent at that. Then the test becomes, can he do the other thing, which is actually lead people? And when pressed, when he's under pressure, can he come through with the right answers? That's what a leader also has to be able to do. They have to be able to, in the moment, on their feet, under pressure, make the right decisions. When Anglin went after me, like a retard, by the way, Anglin, if you're watching, the stuff you said about me was retarded. That's why I did that stream, to read all the retarded shit you said about me. You made a big retarded problem out of something retarded. Because of the Mr. Girl thing with Destiny. And then because you and I bickered a little bit on Politically Provoked about absolute free speech, which you're retarded on that too. But that was the root of you just going off on me publicly on your forum for a week. So when I inevitably responded to the retarded situation you were creating, that put Nick in a position. And the way that Nick handled it in that time actually gave me a lot of hope for Nick. Apparently it stuck in your craw the whole time. But the way I saw it is that Nick was under a bunch of pressure from you, from all of the other guys. They wanted blood. And Paul Town was going off on me and the whole thing. And Nick came in and he saw it for what it was. You and all the other fucking Pharisees wanted to crucify me. And that's what it was. You and the other Pharisees wanted to crucify me. So, Nick saw that for what it was, and he stood up to it. And he didn't give you guys what you wanted. And that actually, like, it wasn't just it meant a lot to me that I got to keep my channel. But it actually, that was the first time that I saw Nick like tested. And he came in like a CEO. And he sat at the table, and Beardson was there fucking bitching and going off and screaming, "Get him, Nick, get him. Get this fucking faggot, get him out of here, sucks." Paul Town had just done a big old thing. There was thousands of people tuned in. The whole community was there to watch an execution. And Nick wasn't swayed by it. And he heard me out. And I was sort of in a little bit. I was doing my best to stay cool, but there was a lot of pressure on me too, and I was new. So I wasn't even putting on my best face. I was tired. And I was sort of just like, ugh. I went and got the welder and held it up because you and everybody else was calling me a fed, which is retarded. You're wrong. And calling me a psychopath and calling me like an intentional subverter. It wasn't any of that. That was all wrong. Everything you've said about me, I know me. All of that stuff you said was not right. So that doesn't give me a great impression of you. You just got everything wrong. But at the later time, here's when Nick fucked up. We saw when Nick did it, when it happened again. And I was right, by the way. And I still am. Everything that I said back then that fucking Beardson knew about Ollie Alexander. And Nick shouldn't have trusted Milo and been so connected to him as much as he was. He was too hungry for connections and whatever. And the way that he swept for the Smiley thing, that was the wrong way to handle it. The way that he tried to even put the blame on Smiley, the teenage boy, instead of the fucking guy that he gave a channel to, knowing what he knew about Ollie Alexander. I was right about all of that. And the way Nick handled that was disgraceful. But the final nail in that coffin was when he came on with UX that time. Maybe it was it the UX stream? No, it was the time before that. But the day before the TOS came out, the time when everybody came in and then Tenryo came in and Beardson and Wurzlerud and Mio and everybody tried to come in and dunk on me because they thought that Nick had just squashed me. What Nick said at that time is, I should have fired your ass because you're not loyal like Ethan Ralph. Womp womp. So you were wrong about me. Nick was wrong about me. And you're wrong about Jesus and Catholicism. You guys are all fucking wrong and stupid. I was right and smart the whole time. I was literally the best one and the rightest one. Always right and always cool. You guys were always wrong and fucking... And I was still giving you a shot. I'm older than you. I'm your big brother. And I was supporting all you little who are wrong about everything. I'm disloyal. I was supporting you anyway, even though you're wrong about a bunch. I was still trying to help you. Be loyal like Ethan Ralph? Are you kidding? So yeah, you've pulled your... Oh, I no longer think Nick is a good leader. Oh, catch up? All right, fine. I mean, I'm not trying to flex on you, but like, you're still wrong about a bunch. I was right the whole time. You were wrong about me. You should apologize.
Anonymous sent $4.04. Nick was wrong about you. His associations are bad. He's a bad judge of character, but so fucking what? Seriously? Has he had an undeniable impact on the conversation? Is he a massive net positive for our cause? Yes. So fuck MRKD.
So fuck MRKD? What's MRKD? Was that RPG? That was Teddy Feezer. That was RPG. I can smell it. That was RPG who sent that. Yeah, just call in. RPG, you can call in. I think you should call in. This would be a great time to call in. Call in and debate me on this. I know that's your position.
Feaster sent $4.04. One Nick had a scandal. He won't address my criticisms. Fuck off, it's all personal bullshit, all of it. You, Jaden, Ralph, now Anglin. Traitors. The only problem you should have with Nick is if he is not effective, but he is so RKD.
No. No. Effective at what? Speaking of personal grievances, your whole thing was that he burned you in a super chat. Your whole thing was that he was associating with Baked Alaska. Your whole thing was exactly this, a personal grievance and a complaint about his support for a figure that you didn't like. Anglin is saying, now I have a personal grievance. He's disrespecting me, and he's supporting a figure that I don't like. That was your whole thing. So until you come out and say, I was wrong from the beginning, all of my attacks on Nick, they were all fucking wrong. I was wrong the whole time. When you come out and say that, then I'll listen to what you're saying to me. You're Anglin, and Baked Alaska is Spencer. It's literally the exact same situation. Why are we supporting these guys running around macing people? Red Pill Gang, well, more like Red Pill. Nick said the same thing to Anglin just now. Some people apparently didn't like my show with Spencer. You know what I say? Fuck them. Same thing. I pled my case to not do what you were about to do. You did it anyway. And you know why you did it? Because you were doing the same thing. You're just doing it back. And now that those people burned you, the gay logs, now you're going to go on a war against them and go back to the other side. You're literally just affiliated with people who show you respect, or you feel like you have an advantage with. Oh, I don't have any sway with Nick. I'll go to them. Oh, now I'm an A-log and a casino guy. Oh, a casino's not respecting me. I'll go back to Nick. Nick doesn't want you either. Acting like you're the guy with like stands on some sort of actual true foundation, and there's like a cause that's getting forwarded, and you're like just for the cause. Dude, there's no... It's all goofy. You can't be the leader and be a fuck up. If you keep fucking up, then you're a fuck up. He needs to grow up. And your whole thing used to be...
Feaster sent $4.04. I was wrong from the beginning. It was all petty personal bullshit. But I knew then he was special. He will take us forward. I let my ego get it the way as you are doing now. Therese, no one in America is willing and is capable, and you know it.
I appreciate you saying that. That you were wrong and that it was all petty personal bullshit. But you knew that he was special, that it will take us forward. You let your ego getting in the way, as you're doing now. There's no one in America willing and capable, and you know it. I mean, I don't know who's... I've said it before, too. Like, who's the other guy? Who's better? I don't think Nick should be the leader. I don't think that anybody needs to say, look, just... You're being emotional. Oh, how dare you? He's the top guy. You have to support him. RKD. Who's stopping him from continuing to do what he's doing? How did Andrew Anglin's endorsement, or mine, or yours, help him do any of the things that you like that he's been doing? Doesn't make any difference. In fact, his association with Anglin, or me, or you, he might be able to do a lot more without it. Just be a guy with a microphone and a green screen. Here's what I said. Here's who I am. None of these people represent me. I have no affiliations. They've all denounced me. I'm not the leader of shit. I'm just Nick. Just be Nick Fuentes. This is my show called America First. Here's what I have to say, and it's powerful. Just be that.